Hey there, fans of brotherly love wrestling. It is I, Vic Delicious.
Philly's own, the Mecca here.
It is the real McCoy, J.D.X. Justin D. Xavier. And
it's your man, CD, the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels.
Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City.
Hey there, brotherly love wrestling. Bill Carr here.
Hey everyone, this is two-time guest Wheeler Yuta.
Two bozos from Philadelphia flapping their gums about pro wrestling this, pro wrestling that.
Which is not that unique in the grand scheme of things yet.
You are in for a treat because you're tuned in to Brotherly Love Wrestling.
Philadelphia, are you ready?
No! They said, are you ready?
This is Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast, your first stop for everything professional wrestling. So sit back and enjoy wrestling talk at its finest with your hosts, Larry Hall and Joe Corrado.
Welcome, everybody, to Brotherly Love Wrestling. On our show today, we'll be doing the Essential Series WCW moments. And the reason this sparked in my head and had this idea was last night, Tuesday night, as we're recording on Wednesday, was the first episode, the premiere episode of Who Killed WCW on Vice TV. Produced by $7, which is the Rock's production company. I know Brian Gawart's writer, the Rock's writer, is involved in it as well. So I haven't watched the first episode yet. I'm debating whether I want to save all four, wait up a month, and watch it all together. But I'm so excited for this and thought this would be a good topic. I didn't see the runtime. Usually, like the dark sides and all that are an hour, so I assume. I didn't see the runtime last night, so I don't know. But I figure with you, especially
4 hours to sum up a whole company.
I listened to them. Brian Gawartz and one of the producers of Dark Side was on with Eric Bischoff and talking with Eric Bischoff about it. And it sounds... He didn't have anything to do with it, did he? Not at all, no. It sounds like this is going to be amazing. Like, just, they didn't spoil anything, but it sounds like this show is going to be amazing. So I can't wait to sit down and watch it.
Got a good title. It's almost like a murder mystery.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And there's a lot of...
I would want some of the old WCW wrestlers in a murder mystery. Like a Blue type movie,
yeah,
with a bunch of old WCW names.
Apparently, there's a lot of new shit. Like, there's a lot of new stuff. Like, it's not just the same old recycled WWE interviews. Like, there's a lot of new interviews and some stuff that we've never heard of. So apparently, there's some footage that no one has ever seen of that last day of Nitro in Panama Beach. That one of the cameramen took.
Really? This thing in Flame House?
I don't know. I mean, it's the whole day. It's like he filmed like 48 hours of it, like down there, like the day before and then the day of Nitro. Like, apparently there's video of Shane McMahon in the ring rehearsing and stuff like that the day of. So, like, there's a lot of shit we probably haven't seen that we're going to see in this series, so it should be really, really good.
If only I had fucking Vice. How are you getting it? Do you have Vice?
No, but I have the wrestling websites I watch everything off of, and they carry a lot of like the A&E biographies and anything like the dark sides and shit like that. So I watch them all off that website.
What's this Pluto thing that I'm hearing about?
Pluto TV's as we go way off track. Pluto TV is pretty good.
No, very helpful.
Pluto TV is very good. It's not like, it doesn't have your regular stations. It's its own TV company, but like, so like they have reality, they'll have like categories. So they'll have sports, reality, news, all that, and then in each category there are channels that correspond. So like in reality, they have a Fear Factor channel, they have a Ink Master channel, they have, so like, and it literally is just those shows played over and over and over again. They have a TNA channel that it's all nothing but TNA wrestling. Yeah, and every now and then I'll pop that on. That's pretty fucking cool to watch.
Because it's free.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Pluto's
Right?
100% free. 100% free.
So I can't watch Vice though.
No,
Live.
Vice Live is not on. No, because there's nothing like a regular station on there. It's their own. It's their own. I mean, I wouldn't call it their own. Maybe it's their own library or they pay for it. But yeah, it's Pluto's not bad. If you want to just like, let me get lost in something. I do it for Ink Master. I like watching Ink Master a lot. I'll put on old Fear Factors, like I said, old TNA wrestling and stuff. So there's some good stuff on there. Some cool movies. Like they'll put like older, I mean, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, I mean, kind of movies. There's some fairly recent movies. It depends on what you're looking for, really. But yeah, Pluto's, I would download that if I were you. I would download it and just, you know what I mean, get lost in it for a couple hours. It's not bad at all.
That's what I need to do. Get lost in something for a couple of hours. I'm walking up one day.
Well, you can get us started.
Very informative. Yeah, before we start, I'm going to do some honorable character / wrestler mentions. I know we usually do our honorable mentions in the end, but these aren't like, this isn't like moments or anything like this. This is just people that I appreciated when watching WCW when I did in the time. So I'll start off with Norman Smiley and the Big Wiggle.
Yep.
One of mine and my father's all-time favorites. The Disco Inferno, I will give him many a prop for being entertaining. He was never a top guy. We all knew that, but he knew his place and he played it very well. Alex Wright is another one with the fucking dance. And who else do we have? So there's one I want to save for the end. There's two I want to save for the end, but one actually could be a moment.
Okay.
Of entertainment in W. I think it. So I'll save him for last.
I was gonna say we'll hold off on him then.
I'll segue into that. Glacier was another good one. Ernest the Cat Miller, very entertaining. Ralphus, part of Jericho Security, and I guess I'll do one of my first most memorable moments
to start it off. All right.
Yeah, just I mean. This was early WCW, but still to this day, the video still flies around. It's still very popular, and that is the Shockmaster.
Okay.
I mean, just one of the all-time greatest flubs and botches in wrestling history, and to this day, still comical. Still a good what the fuck moment. Go right down to the commentary and it's just like, oh my god, you're just listening to it and watching it like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
How they survived after that, I don't know. How they made it that much longer after that is a testament to Eric Bischoff himself.
That's good. That's a solid point. The first thing when I think of WCW, not being a WCW fan until obviously Nitro and it starting to pick up steam, but even then I didn't watch until the Monday Night Wars kind of got hot. So, but when someone says WCW, there's one moment that sticks out in my mind. There's two, but I'm going to say this one first because it is literally the first moment that sticks out in my mind, and that is Hogan, Goldberg in the Georgia Dome. That place packed to the rafters, and
that's one of the first things you think of when you hear WCW.
It is because it was one of those feelings where it was one of I remember exactly where I was, how I felt, I can remember it frame by frame. Like it's one of those things that is burned into my memory, even though I'm not a WCW fan. I was down Cape May. I was at my cousin's house. We were both wrestling fans, and we chose to watch this over Monday Night Raw. It was one of the first and maybe only times I picked Nitro over Monday Night Raw.
because you knew it was going to be Hogan Goldberg for the title.
Yeah. I mean, they've been saying it. We knew we were getting it on free TV, and I can remember everything about it. I have goosebumps.
It was one of the first streak first title matches.
Yeah, I have goosebumps up and down my arms and legs still just thinking about it now. Like, it was a giant moment for WCW. And like I said, one of my personal favorite moments. I mean, that crowd when Goldberg, you lift him up for the jackhammer. It was just it was ridiculous. And then the 3 count. Jesus Christ. Like, it was amazing. It was such a great moment in wrestling, period. Forget WCW. In wrestling.
Yeah, that place went absolutely ape shit.
Yeah. So again, that for me is my number one moment in WCW, period.
All right. Well, I'm not going to rank my moments, but I'll play into that, but I'll date myself a little bit more. Only because I watched it, and just like you, I can remember certain times and feelings and like who I was with. I was with my dad for all of these moments,
obviously
sitting in our living room. But it brings me back to those times and the different ages that I was, and like how like, I mean, yeah, I was a little bit older for Goldberg Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I was very young, and I remember like how cool it was and how it felt like to witness it. Like, you don't get to see it a lot, especially as a kid. Like, you're staying up late, you're like, oh, this is fucking awesome. But one of my first moments was Ron Simmons versus Vader for the title, and Ron Simmons getting hoisted up and all the dudes. It was like one of the first times I feel like I remember seeing that. Like, and like the and you're a kid, you're like, oh, the baby face, like the fucking, like he beat the big, because Vader was scary and he was supposed to be. He was the mastodon.
Yeah,
the fucking big scary mask. I mean, he was supposed to be. That's how he's supposed to be. And it was a really cool moment. It's one of those, like, I always appreciate, like, even when Cody got hoisted up, like, it brings you back to that feeling. You're like, ah, man, I like that. It is like, it's like the ultimate baby face move. Like, the whole locker room of baby faces comes out, hoists them up. Like, it all ties into the moment, the emotion. Like, it brings you back to your childhood, I feel. And that was always one of those ones that, when I think of like my childhood days of when I first started to watch WCW, that was one of the most prevalent moments in WCW for me.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, and look, you look at even sports, just not even wrestling, but sports. Like, even the movies. Like, you look at Rudy. Rudy carried off the field on their shoulders. Like, that at the end of a story, the underdog babyface winning. You know what I mean? Being carried off. Like, moments like that, they're hard to come by, and you don't see them very often. So, like, when it legitimately happens, like you said, Ron Simmons, and like Cody at 40. It's a moment that you will remember. You know what I mean? I'm sure kids watching Cody win at WrestleMania will remember that forever. That'll be burned in their memory. We absolutely will. But I'm just saying, kids, that being one of their first, you know what I mean, moments watching Cody overcome everything, like, that's going to be a pivotal moment in a 8-year-old kid's life, if they stay being a wrestling fan, to remember sitting watching Cody, you know what I mean, complete the story and get hoisted up and all that. Like, that's a part of it, just like you did with Ron Simmons. My next one, again, mine are all during Monday Night Wars. Mine are all because that's when I started.
That's why I decided to sprinkle in some.
It's better that way, honestly. So we're not just repeating things that WWE has told us for other fans. But this I do remember. I remember, actually didn't watch it the night it happened, because
Are you thinking of a pay-per-view?
Yeah, I obviously I barely had money to buy WWE pay-per-views. I no way my mom was buying WCW.
So I watched this one. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember this. This is one of those moments that burned into my, and just how upset Like
Yeah.
how upset the household was.
Yeah, so I watched it the next Monday. I think it was Monday afternoon at my buddy's house because his older brother watched it and taped it for us. Yeah, and
I still have it taped up in my dad's room that I'm going to be cleaning out this weekend. And that is the one thing I'm looking forward to is hopefully that in the spare closet, there is a little wooden chest that you push and it opens up and there's just VHSs.
I know exactly
everywhere.
what you're talking about.
I'm hoping that's there.
Yeah, because you got to convert that into DVD.
Could you?
You can.
Oh, you can have it sent out. Yeah, people do that.
Yeah, dude, you got to.
I could probably get it put on even like a flash
Blu-ray.
drive.
Yeah, flash drive. Flash drive would probably be the best if they could. Depending on the quality, but yeah, definitely would. But what obviously for people who haven't caught on yet, what we're talking about is Bash at the Beach, the third man. It's just again another one of those moments giving me chills. Having Hulk Hogan walk down to the ring, Bobby Heenan almost fucking spoiling it, saying, "Is he the third man?"
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. For the people at home, Heenan said it, and I remember my dad saying, like, because you know how animated he gets. He's going, "There's no way he's the third man. Come on!" And then he's getting all freaking excited and amped up, and like, you think Hogan, like, he's now convinced, and this is where I get it from, convinced that Hogan's coming out to save the day.
Of course. Which 99.9% of people all believe that, which is why it's such an amazing moment. And then pushing them out of the ref out of the way and backing up and giving that the leg drop heard round the world. It's just, God, the promo after and all the trash in the ring and just, God, the entire moment that changed professional wrestling. Like, period. That changed professional wrestling, that moment. It just, you talk about WCW, like I said, there are two things that come to mind. It's Goldberg and Hogan, but it's also Hogan being the third man is 1A for me up there with WCW.
I mean, if you're going to all time, I just every which emotion, because there was a lot that went on, and this will segue again into one of my next ones, but like just everything that was going on in that match, and it just the sheer just disbelief and them walking out, like Sting and Savage, just Sting carrying. It was one of the most disheartening moments I've ever felt in maybe all of my life.
So wait, before we go any further, you just said, all right, so the most disheartening moment that ever watching wrestling. Where does that rank next to the Undertaker streak?
2 different time zones, 2 different time periods.
Mm-hmm.
Taker streak, I was shocked. Very, very shocked. And I was like, wow. And I didn't know how to feel about it.
Okay.
This, I had a very, very strong sense of how I felt about it.
So did it feel, let me ask you this, because this is how I felt about the Taker streak. I felt like, and you'll get this as soon as I say it, the feeling I'm talking about is Patrick Kane scoring in Game 6 of overtime against the Flyers, Joe Carter. That's all I got to say.
So Joe Carter is the same as Hulk Hogan.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
So
Kawhi Leonard hitting that 3 against the Sixers in Toronto. Like,
Joe Carter is number 1.
See, Joe Carter has been removed since the Phillies. Because the Phillies won the World Series, that has softened Joe Carter for me.
Well, here's the thing, though. As a kid, that didn't soften anything. Because it was 93.
Yeah.
And then 96. So it only grew. I was only 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I have to feel the feeling of a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. Probably pretty similar.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I asked. Yeah.
With sadness and like sheer like just being like not knowing how to feel, but knowing you feel very, very, very upset and sad. That was that feeling for those 2 moments. Okay. The other ones was just like disbelief, like you gotta be. It was more of a you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
For Patrick Kane especially,
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I mean, those two are like, especially like, you got to be fucking like just utter like just yeah. It was kind of more like a disbelief, and like the other ones were more like really sad and just not like just being beside myself. These were like fucking Christ. Two different feelings, but Joe Carter is Hulk Hogan.
Okay. That was my main goal. That feeling of like almost losing a championship, that your gut drops. It's a horrible, horrible feeling when you're that diehard into something, whether it's a sports team or an athlete, like a pro wrestler, like that feeling. It doesn't go away. And like you said, that's why when you're explaining it, that's why what I immediately equated it to was that gut wrenching feeling of just like, oh my, like disappointment, and oh, how could this happen? Okay, so now that kind of brings me into your mindset.
Yeah, that was how that was. Like everything that was just going on with Hogan. But if I were to like what this set off was also the evolution of my favorite wrestler of all time. And this was another feeling that I didn't know which way to feel, because he had disappeared and then appeared in the shadows at the top of the arena. And there was just I'm a very patient person, but me and my dad were, no, I am. Believe me, I am. When it comes to life in general, very, very patient. But this is like what this got to a point of where it's just like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm talking about Sting, pro Sting. I mean, how it eventually ended up, like the payoff was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And him just taking out the whole fucking NWO, coming down and just whipping their ass and being the vigilante of justice, like fucking it was so cool. Like
Yeah.
it was one of my favorite things ever. And that's one of those things that like I could continue to watch as an adult and just be like, man, I love this. Like it's not one of those things that I ever grow out of.
Yeah.
Like, not, like some things in wrestling I've grown out of a little bit. Not everything, but some things. This is one of those things that like that will always stick with me. Be like, I can watch at any point in my life and just be like, this is fucking amazing. It was so cool because it takes me right back to the living room floor or the living room couch, wherever I was sitting at that point, and there it was. That was childhood. That was childhood wrestling summed up. Those moments.
I like the Sting pick. That was, I mean, I remember waiting and waiting and waiting and being like, this feels like an eternity waiting to see Sting finally come down and do something.
They fucking played it off, didn't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it was a point where you could wait, like you were used to waiting for payoffs, and you know what I mean. You couldn't. I mean, I can't say you couldn't do that now because that bloodline story lasted 3.5, 4 years. So, not going to say that, but like something like Sting, I don't know if you could pull off now, like that kind of.
Wasn't wrestling. He was just chilling in the rafters.
Yeah. But I mean, that was the ultimate, you know what I mean, patience and storytelling and hoping that eventually it's going to deliver. You know what I mean? And it, like you said, it did. But having the patience to wait and be a fan like that whole year run, I'm pretty sure that's what it was phenomenal. My next pick, I'm gonna go with I have a couple different ones I was thinking about. So I'm going to go with one that, I mean, ultimate controversy, and one of the ones that I couldn't get enough of as a kid watching WCW and wondering, was it real? Well, yeah, I mean, was it a work? I couldn't tell. Is the finger poke of doom.
So you're talking the demise of basically the start of WCW.
Yeah, because I was obviously always a big Kevin Nash fan because of Diesel and being in the clique. So I always loved whenever the NWO was on. That's why I would switch over, is because of Razor and Diesel being there and the whole
Nash. God damn it.
Yeah, whatever. But and that might be one of the only times. Look, that's the funny thing is that might be one of the only times where they switch a name and go to a different company where you're not laying on them being the WWE name. That's usually your hang up. You know what I mean? No, they were this, but it's Hall and Nash. That's funny that you do that.
They had more impact as Hall and Nash. As much as I love Razor, and I do,
Yeah,
Razor might be top 5.
Yeah,
he might be. It goes by the wind. He's always up there though.
Yeah,
and it is top 5 favorite finishing move, the Razor's Edge.
Yeah,
but they're Hall and Nash. They're the outside.
I have no problem with that. I agree with that.
So it's very tough. It's a tough one. I know. It is. It might be my only one. The only one that I'll let slide will be Hall and Nash.
Yeah. But that finger poke and him falling to the ground like a redwood and just that pin. It's just
for a tall man.
It's such a middle finger slap in the face to WCW and Goldberg and everyone involved. Like, it's just, but knowing who Kevin Nash is, listening and being able to hear him talk over the years, and even when we met him, like talking to him, like
he was just ready to talk. He's always ready to talk about old wrestling.
Yeah,
he's just throwing shit at TNA, fucking no matter. He's just like, yep.
Yeah,
we didn't even provoke him. No. We just said, "What's up?" He just said, "Fucking." He just went off.
Still, one of my favorite interactions of meeting wrestler ever is us talking to Kevin Nash about his contract.
Hello.
Yeah,
he just kept going.
It was fucking phenomenal. Like, it was so great.
He was really. We called him like mid thought, and he just went out. He just went whoop.
But yeah, that moment.
I was making a TNA.
That moment for me, it makes me laugh watching it over and over. It was the definition, or one of those jump the shark moments where it showed what that company and the direction that company was headed because of
it was not a good direction.
No.
Well. All right, so I'm going to take it to the lighter side. Okay. And when we were talking about this, and you brought this up, like, I have numerous thoughts that went through my head about WCW. I was like, man, that was it. Like, I can just name almost anything because I watched it. I literally watched all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: one of my favorite moments, and it's not a big moment, but it's fucking hysterical, and who it is makes complete fucking sense of who he's continued to be. And that's the original List of Jericho.
Man of 1,001 holds.
Yeah, dude, the arm bar, the coming back from commercial break, and he's still fucking doing it.
And how many times he repeated armbar? Oh my god,
dude! It was just like that was the beginning of Chris Jericho, like that. Just and like, dude, he's only gotten better. Jericho's another one that could sneak top 5, like at any moment. And that's not even his wrestling. That's just him.
Mm-hmm.
Just goofy shit. The List of Jericho might be my favorite thing ever in wrestling. It might be. It was it was so fucking stupid. It was so perfect. And the person doing it and who he had with him, Kevin Owens, I mean, it was oh my god, it was perfect. There was no part of that wasn't perfect. But yes, the original List of Jericho makes my WCW memory, just because it is one of those things that's burned into my memory. Whenever someone says WCW, I'm like, man, it's as stupid as it was, but that's fucking Jericho. As stupid as he can possibly be, he gets shit over.
Yep.
And it's talked about for years after. Like, it's dumb, but it was fucking great at the same time. All in a program with Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say sidebar right now. That cruiserweight division in fucking WCW was one of the most entertaining wrestling eras. I'll put that up. Like that first hour of Nitro with the cruiserweights, that shit was so fucking cool.
Yep.
Like, cause I didn't know what Lucha Libre was as a kid, and we got to see all this crazy like. And here's where I'll give it to today's watchers of wrestling and how they like cool shit and like spots and whatnot. I wouldn't build a company off of it, but it is cool. And there's still fucking shit that I like today that emulates what I watched as a kid with WCW cruiserweights, except it's taken up and the athleticism is somehow better than it was. But I would never build a company on just that, like cool wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. And but I do get like, yeah, because watching that shit as a kid, like it was cool. Like but they had a lot of personality in there. Like Dean Malenko was amazing. He was a guy you really like. He garnered respect, but you still hated him at the same time.
Yeah.
He was really good at that. Guerrero, of course, young Eddie, Ray, Psychosis, Juventud. I mean, the list kind of goes on.
Yeah.
They had a really good run.
Now look, you have guys, Billy Kidman, Benoit, like guys like that. They just that whole division that was wrestling then.
Billy Kidman, Ravens flock. Billy Kidman.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
well, of course.
That was my favorite Billy Kidman.
Yeah.
The 7-year itch.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The wrestling was second to none. Literally the best wrestling on Nitro, and it wasn't even close at that point because that's where the NWO was, dominating. But when you wanted to watch wrestling, you knew, all right, I got the first hour of just incredible, never before seen shit that you could watch.
And it was completely different than anything else that was going on TV at that time.
Yeah.
They kind of like struck iron. That's a good opening act, if you want to call it an opening act.
Yeah, it's a good way to start a show. I'm gonna keep with the downfall moments.
So I have to be positive. I can do that.
I'm gonna go with again another moment, and I think it's come out now how real the moment actually was, and that is Hogan, Jarrett, and Vince Russo, and Jeff Jarrett laying down, and Vince Russo telling Hogan just to pin him, and throwing the title at Hogan's feet, and Hogan just saying to Jeff like, "Don't do this. Just don't. No, get up. Don't do it." And then counting to 3 when he puts his boot on his shoulder, and him picking up the mic and saying, "This is the reason that this company is in the shape it is." And then Russo coming out and cutting a promo saying, "You'll never see that piece of shit in this company ever again." It was just like, holy shit. Like, as a fan watching, you're like, this man, that's real. Like at the time, you're like, dude, and that's our era of watching wrestling. There were moments like that where you would look at the TV and you'd go, yeah, I know it's fake, but that's not supposed to happen. Like that doesn't happen. And turns out obviously it was real. Like it was real, but that moment is another one where it's just like, holy shit, the fucking
WCW wasn't even enjoyable to watch at that point.
No, it wasn't.
It was not like it got to a point of where you're like forcing yourself to watch it just because you've been committed for years. Like that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then I mean that day that Shane McMahon shows up on WCW, those were dark times in the household because now you're forced. We were forced.
So I mean, is that your next moment? You're gonna go clear. You're gonna go a little happier.
No, I mean it's unfortunately one of those fucking moments that I won't forget is Shane McMahon being on WCW TV saying that he bought the company. And
What is that like as a WCW fan? What are you feeling at that moment?
it sucked. I remember feeling like it was that was the end. Like
But
us not knowing, like there's no way that he bought the company and they're going to keep the company. Like that was like it felt like that. Well, this is the end. Like they
no,
basically said it
at
was
that
the end.
moment though, you're watching WWE. Stone Cold's around. You're watching Monday Night Raw, and it's not like Raw's bad either. So what? Like,
No, but it was the end of my company.
yeah,
It was the end of what I watched. It was we don't know what's gonna happen. Sting's still my favorite wrestler at this point.
yeah.
So always will be. Like you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. I mean, WWE did a good job at keeping my interest. I mean, they had plenty of people there.
Yeah.
And they did it for a good amount of time. And I'm not saying anything bad about WWE. It's WCW fucked it up. I mean, it's clear. I mean, Turner didn't want a fucking wrestling company. They let God knows who fucking just keep putting in their input to try and create a wrestling show. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But I always remember Shane McMahon, that very punchable face of Shane McMahon, and that very punchable face of fucking Vince McMahon.
Yeah, I remember watching Raw that night and Vince coming on with and doing that promo in front of the gate with the barrel, the Monday Night Raw barrel next to him, and saying, "I now own WCW," right before they do the Shane McMahon thing, and him saying, like, holding something in his hand, like nothing in his hands, but saying he owns WCW. I'm like, man, what the fuck does this mean? Like, what is gonna happen now? Like, it's just as a fan, you're like, man, does that mean we're getting Hogan and we're getting Goldberg? Like, all these guys coming over, and it just, as a WWE fan, and not watching Nitro on a weekly basis, you know what I mean? Only watching because at that point, you knew I can't watch WCW because that's going to give them ratings. So I got to only watch. So when that happens, you're going, holy shit. Like, now what? Now what the hell we do? What's going to happen here?
You didn't get really any of that right away.
No. And
was
even when
just
you
it.
did, it was watered down. You know what I mean? The watered down roster, with the exception of Booker.
I don't know. The invasion angle was pretty cool.
The idea is cool. The superstars that were in it were the problem. Because, I mean, Sean Stasiak and, you know, like...
Well, no. You had Eddie.
No, because remember, they came over. They were the Radicals. They were over before WCW.
No, wait, the Radicals angle was good.
The Radicals angle was good. Yeah. But the WCW, when they came over, I mean, you got Jindrak, you had Stasiak, I'm trying to think of the stars of Billy Kidman was a part of it. And like, this isn't a knock on them guys, but like, when you're saying WCW, it's the guys that we've been naming. It's Hogan, it's Sting, it's Goldberg, it's Kevin Nash, it's Scott Hall, like Big Papa Pump. Like, those are the guys that we wanted to see. And instead, no diss to Booker, but it's Booker T and DDP to a lesser extent. Like, DDP's great, but DDP was another one. Like, it was just like, like this is it. This is the invasion. Like, we know all our guys are better than those guys. Like, that's who you're bringing. Like, we wanted Hogan Austin, and I mean, we got Booker T. Austin was great. Don't get me wrong, turned out to be amazing, but it wasn't what when we bought as WWE fans. You thought, WCW, we get everybody, and then
you thought you were going to get Goldberg coming in and revamping the streak.
Yeah, like we thought that this was it. That no one's gonna be able to touch it, and then it's just, it wasn't it. And they trickled in, and we got some good stuff here and there, but
And then ECW came about, and shit got a little crazier.
Yeah, he got ECW One Night Stand out of it and stuff like that. But that initial buying and Shane McMahon on Nitro and it just the simulcast, watching Monday Night Raw on TNT, and just it was insane.
Yeah, very kind of depressing. Kind of depressing moments.
Trying to think.
Way to kill the mood, Larry.
Sorry, I mean, I didn't have any problem with it. My team won, so at the time I was happy.
Such a company guy.
I'm trying to think of different things at WCW. Obviously, we went down that road and kind of got to the end quickly. But I know there are matches that
I don't know if I do like matches, like shit that they did that was pretty cool. Like in the moment, that I thought like maybe it wasn't as great, but I always liked the 3-ring battle royal, the World War III.
World War III was cool, a cool concept. Even when they did Ready to Rumble and they actually did the cage from Ready to Rumble, like being a fan of that movie, huh?
Was it 3 stage? It wasn't 3 stages of hell, was it?
No. I can't remember you should know the name way better than I do.
I know. I'm blanking on it. Someone's saying it as they watch or listen.
But I mean, look, you want to talk about another moment that a lot of people look at is David Arquette winning the gold
title.
belt. Like David Arquette, like how many people, and look, we saw a part of his, you know what I mean, redemption tour at ECW Arena with him and RJ City in a tag match. You know what I mean? When he was filming his documentary, he busted his ass. Yeah, absolutely. Like WCW and giving him that title, it was just like, what the fuck are they doing? Like David Arquette, out of all fucking people,
movie.
I agree. I know. I mean, obviously, we know why they did it, but like wrestlers, man, old school wrestlers. I mean, wrestlers at that point were like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, nothing good. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
nothing good.
I mean, yeah. Some
of
those
did get Jimmy King.
That's true. That's true. Who should still be in the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame? I cannot believe that's not a thing, but.
Well, that's kind of tough, ain't it?
It is. Jimmy King should be in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, Oliver Platt don't look too good now, but
no,
he should have went in a while ago.
I agree. Some of those moments, the down moments, but like them trying as hard as they could. The Judy Bagwell on a forklift. I mean, like things like that were just so out there, and yet there was some entertaining parts.
You're talking about the Vince Russo era.
Yeah,
fucking. Yeah, it was dog shit.
It was, but you look at it now and you're like, "Holy God!" Like, this was on TV.
They had two. They had Thunder and they had Nitro, and Thunder I never even watched at that point in time. Like Thunder was like so far off the watch list at that point.
See, I watched Thunder because it didn't affect WWE ratings.
Oh, it was so that's why you didn't like WCW because you watched Thunder. Thunder started out pretty good. Thunder even got it, and that game was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but at that time, Thunder was not watchable.
No,
you barely got anything.
Yeah, no.
But from WCW, you got War Games. Got the Dangerous Alliance. That's always a good WCW memory of mine. Dangerous Alliance versus Sting Squad in the
War Games.
War Game. That was always a good one. Watching a young Dustin Rhodes.
Stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah. You got Rick Rude. You got a young... Rick Rude was great in WCW.
Look, that's another really cool moment in WCW. And it happened, almost the same time. Rick Rude coming out on Monday Night Raw, but then also coming out on Nitro shaved. He had the goatee on Raw, but he only had the stash when he came out on Nitro and he was on the TV. I can't remember if he was on the TV the exact same time or like what the difference was in timing, but like it was pretty groundbreaking for him to do that. Look, Lex Luger, Mall of America. I'm going to talk about a moment for Nitro. The moment that proved that, you know what I mean, anything can happen on Nitro. Their first episode, you have Lex Luger walk out, who was just on a pay-per-view for WWE. Like, there are those moments where WCW was pretty fucking cool. But just, it sucked that the negatives seem to outweigh a lot of the positives because they're the ones that are most recent.
So one of the things that used to scare me as a child was when the Giant first came in, and it was the Dungeon of Doom, and he was after Hogan, and he did the neck snap to Hogan. Like that one singed into my brain. The monster trucks, that was pretty bad.
The monster trucks themselves were cool. Like they were designed really cool. Like Hogan's monster truck was legit. That thing was cool looking. I actually remember them coming to the Spectrum and featuring the Hollywood Hogan monster truck at the Spectrum.
No, he wasn't Hollywood Hogan at that point. He was just regular Hulk Hogan.
No, but yeah, but they had an NWO one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was an NWO Hollywood Hogan monster truck.
I'm talking about the beginning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, yeah. The NWO one I actually saw at Monster Jam at the Spectrum, which was fucking cool as shit to see. To see a wrestling monster truck. Like, it had fucking Hogan's arms and his head
I remember that one.
Yeah.
The headband or the bandana.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
24-inch python.
Yeah.
Well, for WCW did give us Thunder in Paradise.
As a kid, an amazing show. As an adult, it is absolute garbage. I've watched episodes and it is so bad.
I tried to. I think I got maybe 3 minutes into the first episode. I was like, all right, I've had enough.
Thunder in Paradise is bad.
Yeah.
But
cool.
I do remember being in my pool as a kid and taking a bucket and pulling it over my head because seeing them in the boat and like the boat was flipped over and they're underneath and they're holding air. So I had to try it as a kid in my pool. So I took my dad's 5-gallon work bucket and like pulled my knees up to my chest and like just floated there with my head. I thought it was like the coolest fucking thing in the world that I could be underwater and then put my head in the bucket and still breathe. Like, I thought that was the coolest shit. But that's only because of Thunder in Paradise.
Thunder in Paradise, ladies and gentlemen, had given Larry the idea to submerge himself and just breathe through a bucket. Thank you, WCW and Thunder in Paradise, for that moment, that childhood memory that we're just graced with on the show. All right. Well, I think we've gone just about enough of the W. I think there's a great point to end on.
Wait, you said you had an honorable mention of a moment that you were saying.
No.
Did you get it out?
No honorable. No, the honorable mentions were in the beginning.
I know, but you said I had a guy. You had a guy with that may be a moment that you were going to hold.
No, that was Shockmaster.
Oh, okay.
That was a segue.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
One of those people that you just remember, that I remember from my childhood, just WCW people.
Gotcha.
No, he was just the last one.
What's your favorite match or most memorable match as far as literally the in-ring? I mean, unless it's the Ron Simmons, but
no, Sting Flair when Sting won the title.
Okay.
Sting's first WCW title or NWA title.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably. There's a few matches that I remember. Like, I remember the Brett and Goldberg match.
That's another moment we didn't talk about.
I hated Brett in WCW, man. They just did him so fucking dirty.
So wait, if WCW did him dirty, why did you hate Brett?
No, I hated him in WCW. Like, they.
Oh, you hated that he was in WCW. Okay.
I like he wasn't the same. It wasn't the same Bret Hart.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Like I like WWF Bret Hart, WCW Bret Hart. I mean, he shouldn't have went. He just shouldn't have went. He should have stayed. That would have actually probably been a bigger counterpart that I would rather have seen WWF for, because I love Bret Hart in WWF.
Mm-hmm.
He was like that baby, he was like that Sting baby face that I liked. He was the other half.
Yeah.
And they both did the same finishing move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bret had less flash, but he had the sunglasses, and he was definitely the better wrestler by miles. But Sting had the flash, the power, the speed, the hair, the makeup. It's a no-brainer. I love them both, but it was a no-brainer. I went Flash. I went Flash over physical prowess.
I do, real quick before we wrap up, Sunday, we have a pay-per-view.
Sunday we have a pay-per-view. What pay-per-view today?
NXT Battleground.
Oh.
Is Sunday.
That's Jordan Grace, right?
Yeah, Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's title. This event, it's really stacking up. You know what I mean? I mean, not that NXT pay-per-views don't stack up, but it's just getting better and better at this point. I can't wait to see, because we haven't seen him perform in a while. That's Ethan Page. Ethan Page, officially an NXT roster member now after last night and signing his contract. And him versus Trick Williams for the NXT title is going to be awesome to watch. I can't wait to see Ethan Page. Obviously, like you said, Jordan Grace being on there versus Roxanne is going to be amazing. You have an actually NXT Underground match, which NXT has done pretty fucking well. They've turned that into the joke that it was on Monday Night Raw and really turned it into a legitimate gimmick for NXT. And you have Lola Vice, who was a legitimate MMA fighter against Shayna Baszler, who obviously we know was an MMA fighter. So you have legitimacy behind this match that's going to be as close to a work shoot match as you want to call it, I guess. It's just, even for the North American, you have the North American, the men's North American, you have the triple threat match. I feel like
you got a women's North American,
and we have the women's inaugural North American Championship match, a ladder match. Like, those 6 women are going to want to top the men's from way back. One of the greatest NXT matches, I'll go out and say it, of all time was that first North American.
That was the opener.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I think it was for that card. I think it was. And if this card I'm looking at right now is the order, they're starting the show. Obviously, anything could change or be different, but right now
it's subject to change.
Yeah. But that match, it's a bunch of women that don't exactly have the name to a lot of wrestling fans, but I feel like they're going to want to prove it. And it's just, I think this whole card has the ability to be absolutely insane. I kind of hope the Good Brothers win the NXT tag titles, since now AJ Styles, of course, pulled a Mark Henry on Friday night. I meant to ask you about that. Did you watch any of SmackDown, or did you just catch the results?
I didn't even catch the results. I'm behind on SmackDown a week.
Okay, so did you even hear that happened?
Nope. This is all news to me, friend.
Wow. So the whole night, it's AJ Styles has an announcement about his career. AJ Styles is going to be in the ring to announce something about his career. He's walking around in a powder blue blazer. Yes. And LA Knight stops him and says, I don't know if this is true, but if it is, respect, shook his hand and walked away. He'd seen Cody on his way out and whispered something in Cody's ear. He shook his hand and walked away. So it looked like, or they made it look like he was going to retire the whole time. And this is not a fault of WWE. The whole time going, he's pulling a Mark Henry. He's pulling a Mark Henry. He's not retiring. He's pulling a Mark Henry. And he comes.
Jaded wrestler.
Yeah, but they kind of telegraphed it. And Mark Henry talked about it, and he loved it, of course. But it was more of an homage to Mark Henry than it was them trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes and do it as well as Mark did, because no one saw that coming. But it was very well done. It was a good segment. He said that what he whispered in Cody's ear was that would he come out if he called him out? And Cody said, yeah. So he brought Cody out. The Good Brothers were out there with him, standing in the corner, letting him talk. And it ended with Cody raising AJ's hand. And they do the thing where you're holding your hand. You go to one side of the crowd. You go to the hard cam. You go to where the announcers are. And then Cody got taken out, got then thrown out of the ring, got a Styles clash on the stairs. Meanwhile, the Good Brothers are holding all the refs and the producers back from getting to him. And because AJ Styles was told, you're going to the back of the line now. So this is his way of getting out from behind the back of the line, because now Cody's going to want to face him. So we still have this Cody AJ story, which has gotten a lot better. It's not just, here's Cody's first opponent. It's, all right, now we got story to latch on to. But, like I said, Good Brothers are now heels officially because they helped AJ with Cody. So I kind of hope the tag titles go on the Good Brothers on Sunday. And you have the Good Brothers as heels and as champions, makes it even better. Makes the titles and makes the babyface chase, which I love. So I think this event Sunday, is going to be awesome, because NXT is awesome without a doubt. So
Very, very well said.
Sunday, look forward to watching NXT Battleground. Something to watch Sunday night, so that should be an amazing pay-per-view. But other than that was it. That's all I wanted to talk about. Get it off our chest before next week. And I think that's it, right?
I think it was a hell of a show. I think we put together a hell of a show.
Another
agree. Fine program by the boys over at Brotherly Love Wrestling Podcast. We really doing a really long.
Also, you going to be watching the finals tomorrow night, Joe?
No.
No? Okay. I knew that answer already. I just wanted to ask.
I'm only watching the Phillies right now, and I'm loving every second of it.
I get that. I am cautiously nervous.
Nope. Don't say it. No, you said it last year. I don't want to hear it.
No. Not about Phillies, about my Celtics.
Oh.
I'm so nervous.
Say it.
Luka, Kyrie. That's a solid fucking team over there in Dallas, and I am very, very nervous. But that being said, I'm saying Celtics in 6, and Banner 18 will come to Boston. So Celtics in 6.
Just for fun, I'm gonna say Mavs in 7.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm not confident at all.
Kyrie putting the dagger in Boston.
I'm fucking worried. But
nail in the coffin in Boston. Kyrie gets his revenge.
I'm gonna root my team till the very end. So I'm praying for Banner 18. So, well, that'll do it. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll be talking to you very soon. Don't take any shit from anybody.